What is going on, Two Dudes Wolfpack? Welcome to another episode, the Friday edition of Two Dudes with Attitudes. I am the dude of Wrestle Talk, Mr. MWO. And with me, as always, is the honorary dude, Mr. Shooting Star Perez. Ooh, look at that.
Yeah, I
Look
like
at
that. You should record that and make that a soundbite every time I walk into the room.
Every time. Oh,
Every
man.
time.
So
like
what's going
hat.
on?
Look at that hat.
Look at all right. So as you guys
Like
can see,
a Chippendale.
look at that. You see, with the release of Magic Mike tonight, I thought I should keep it real. But no, as promised, I said I was gonna wear my HBK hat. This is old school HBK. A lot of you don't know this HBK. This is like Shawn Michaels, original sexy boy, walking out with Sherry, and like when he was the IC champ before he ever became a DXer or a Bret Hart, destroyer, whatever you want to call him, ruining girls' lives backstage. This is what he was. He was this dude right here. And for my guy, wrestling guy, I also wore my Kenny Omega shirt. He doesn't think I'm a Kenny Omega fan just because I don't think he's the best. And this is old school Kenny right here. That's Bullet Club Kenny. So been down since day one-ish. You know what I'm saying? Shooting Star Press.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we got Heartbreak Ken in the house right here. So
Heartbreak Ken.
I like it.
This hat, man, I should go out tonight in this, huh?
It looks pretty dapper.
Looks
pretty dapper. You should make a TikTok in that hat.
I shoot my TikToks and everything I wear on the day, so my TikToks are going to be shot in this exact outfit for today. I haven't done them yet.
No,
we'll see.
Funny. That's awesome.
We'll see. But anyway, man, what's going on since Wednesday? Any exciting news?
No, not a lot. It's we're approaching the weekend, and it's always a fun time, always a chaotic time on the weekends. So swim lessons again, horseback lessons again. Super Bowl is on Sunday, so
let's go Rams.
Yeah, yeah, let's go Broncos. I wish.
I'm just bummed because that means this Sunday at around 7:00, my Rams are no longer the champions. So it's gonna be
unfortunate.
But I'll be rocking a lot of Rams Super Bowl gear that day. So
it's kind of like when Bobby Lashley lost in the Elimination Chamber last year. He lost the WWE Championship. He got hurt before the match and he never got pinned. That's kind of like that can be the Rams. You can just
thank you.
At least they never got pinned to
yeah.
And they didn't get their ass kicked in the Super Bowl to lose.
Yeah. So. No, they didn't. They didn't even have a chance. We had Baker Mayfield as a quarterback for crying out loud.
Yeah. Didn't even get a chance to defend their championship.
True that. And we had a lot of exciting news in basketball. I mean, holy guacamole, trades galore. If you're a Phoenix Suns fan, congratulations. You now have a pretty good squad. Me being a Clippers fan, I'm assuming we're just going to keep losing like we always do. YOLO. But yeah, man. Yeah. It was...
The Golden State Warriors traded James Wiseman back for Gary Payton II, who was just on the team last year. That made no sense. So
I was and they got rid of 6 second-round picks or something. Yeah. They're like every second-round draft pick for the rest of our lives.
They traded Wiseman for 5 second-round picks. They traded him to the Pistons to get those second-round picks.
To then give them.
Then they gave all 5 of those picks to the Blazers to get Gary Payton II back,
and I haven't been following Gary Payton Jr. Is he like his dad? Is he playing ball and hard this year? I don't know if he was.
He's like a defensive specialist. I think he
makes sense.
I don't think he fit the Portland style of play.
Yeah.
But he fit Golden State perfectly. He was a huge reason as to why they won that championship last year. But he left. He left Golden State and signed with Portland in free agency, and then they traded him. They traded for him to come back, which I didn't know you could do that.
But, I didn't know you could just be gone for 3 days. But yeah,
whatever.
Half the season. What else? But anyway, and we have some good news because me and Shooting Star Press might be meeting up pretty soon. Possibility, isn't that right?
Yeah, I got permission from the boss lady that I will be going to WrestleMania 39 in LA.
Yes, sir.
So now we just got to find flights that aren't astronomically expensive. I'm gonna have to take some cheapo airline and make 18 stops on the way.
Spirit? Are you gonna do Spirit and just
fly to LaGuardia and then fly back to Charlotte, then fly down to Dallas, fly over to Chicago, and then finally get to LA that way. But either way, I'm not letting anything stop me. I'm going to WrestleMania.
Heck yeah.
And I'm stoked about it. So
yeah, I know we need
wait.
to talk. We need to plan it all. We need to figure it out and
get
all these tickets. And I mean, we're going to go to NXT. That's what I mean. We have to do a live podcast and in the same space. How cool is that going to be? Like awesome. The two dudes are going to be at WrestleMania. How flipping cool is that? How flipping cool is that?
That's awesome.
And with that good, what's that?
My wife doesn't know. She doesn't know how expensive everything is, but I just got permission to go, so it's.
Don't they usually say what's that whole thing? Is that you ask for forgiveness or
you ask for forgiveness and ask for permission?
So, yeah.
Oh, yeah. The whole gang was going to Raw afterwards. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I didn't know. Yeah, whoops.
I didn't know the tickets were $1,700 a person.
And those are the tickets I got. I already got them. They were $1,700 VIP. We're actually watching with Triple H. It's awesome. It's going to be an awesome experience.
In the gorilla.
Yeah, I bought those tickets. Me, you, and Trips just hanging out. Two dudes. Why would he not? He said he wants a podcast live while we're there. So
exactly.
Get the whole experience.
I'm excited. And we talked about report cards on the last episode, and just a fun story about WrestleMania. When I was 18 was WrestleMania 20 in New York at Madison Square Garden. And my parents said if I got straight A's for that first quarter of the year, they would let me go to WrestleMania 20 in New York. So that was the one where it all begins again. And I did it. I made it happen. I got the straight A's, and then we went to go buy the tickets, and they were gone. And this was before the days of like StubHub, and before you could like get them on like Craigslist or anything like that. It was just you go to Ticketmaster, and they were all gone. They were sold out in like 30 minutes. But so I never got a chance to go. But in hindsight, I'm actually glad I missed that WrestleMania because I didn't want my first one to be, that main event with that person whose name we don't like to say, with when he beat HBK and Triple H to win the World Heavyweight Championship. I didn't want that to be my first.
That was that, yeah. Yes, sir.
I'm actually glad that this is my first one. So dude, it's gonna be a banger.
I'm telling you, all these people out here, all these East Coast people waiting for Philly and SummerSlam Detroit. Y'all missing out. Do like Shooting Star Press. Get out to WrestleMania. This is going to be it's going to be huge. There's going to be stars, people, the matches, the Codys, the Sammys, the Bloodline. So much stuff is going to happen. Is Roman going to lose? Yada yada yada. But yes, The Rock may be there. Batista's probably going to be Batista will probably go inducted. I mean, it's gonna be huge. And I know we're doing AEW, so we're talking so much about WWE, but. Also, we are going to live stream again. We will be doing it for the Elimination Chamber. So be prepared for that. Half an hour before, half an hour after, probably just like last time. Unless it goes 7 hours like last time and we don't have time to go half an hour after because we actually went 2.5 hours over. But we'll see. We can't, be up until midnight.
I don't think that one will be 5.5 hours long. I
don't know. The last one was just a Rumble. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, but there was 2 Rumble matches. Oh, I guess this one has 2 chamber matches.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? I remember back in the days when like Mania started hitting like 4 hours and people were like, what the heck? I can't like sit through a 4 hour. Then it was like 7 hours one year. And then that's when they were like, all right, COVID, let's split it into 2. But now, like, no pay-per-view should ever go over like NXT. It was like 2 hours and like 50 minutes. That's like what a paper. Like, why are we like AEW? I don't need an 8-hour AEW event. 3 hours is like, it's hard enough for me to watch Lord of the Rings. You know what I mean? I can't just sit there and watch 4 hours of wrestling. It's
we talk about Blockbuster a lot. Anytime my parents would go to Blockbuster and they would come home with the cassettes and they were like stuck together because there was multiple. I'm like, God, I don't want to watch this freaking movie. Like Titanic was like 6.5 hours long and they had 2 cassette tapes. Or just some like my parents, to punish me one time, made me watch this documentary on Gettysburg, and it was like 8 tapes, and I was like, oh my gosh, I got to sit through all 8. That means that's like 17 hours.
That's funny. There were so many. I think Titanic was the first like double VHS, if I'm correct.
It may have been, yeah.
Because I worked at all these and Hollywood videos and stuff when all this was out.
Yeah, I just remember anytime they would come home with the double VHS, I'm like, well, shit, this is gonna be awful.
You're like, and I'm out.
Gone with the Wind, like, oh my god.
Well, do you remember too? And then they started doing like double DVDs, and I'm like, okay, no, a DVD is made so you can put a whole bunch of. You could put stop. You're just trying to make more money by putting like I'm not because I think it was Gangs in New York you had to like literally that movie with Leonardo DiCaprio, Daniel Day-Lewis, not the milkshake one, but the other one. I will drink your milkshake. Not that one, but like I don't know if you know Daniel Day-Lewis, but that was a Leo one, and it was a great movie. I think Daniel Day won again for the umpteenth time for Best Actor.
Of course.
Because I think he became a real murderer and barber in real life, so he can, or a butcher, so he can learn the role because that's what he used to do. That dude like went into a cave once for like 2 years for like a role or whatever.
Yeah,
become like a boxer.
He was like the ultimate method actor.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, and Leo was always like just good, but never like that method. But anyway, but yeah, I remember it was like, bing. Please enter disc 2. And I was like, what? Like, I gotta get up, you couldn't fit the other hour on here. So stupid.
Yeah.
So
and
stupid.
it just always felt like a form of torture. Like, God, I gotta watch another 3 hours of this. Like, it was so bad.
But then we got like in a cool craze too, where people were like wanted like extended. Because remember, Lord of the Rings came out and it was 3 hours long, and they were like, nah, we got the 5-hour version getting released, and people bought it. Like.
They just did that with the Justice League movie or something.
Oh yeah.
They had the director's cut,
but that was like a remake, wasn't it? Because he didn't finish everything, although he just went and reshot it all afterwards to pretend like he didn't make a bad movie.
6.5 hours long.
Yeah, it was pretty good though. But yeah, it was way too long. I think I watched it literally over like five nights or something like that.
Yeah, that's what like we're old now, man. Like we like you lose my attention after about an hour. So I'm like, okay, I'll pause this and resume it tomorrow.
And there's not a lot of days that I have in my life right now where I'm like, dang, I got like 6 hours to blow. I need to like figure out what I'm going to do, like ever. Like that's not a thing anymore. So, but anyway, you're welcome, everybody listening. Yeah. All right, let's get into it. We got some Rampage to talk about because it is AEW Friday, our weekend review. Rampage. And I'm just going to talk about one. We usually do one each on Rampage. So my one thing's just going to be everything, and then I don't know what you want to do afterwards, but this episode felt like a house show to me. And I don't know you kids if you don't know what a house show is, because I think they still have house shows, right? Basically, a house show is where you can go watch a live wrestling event, and they put a bunch of random people together. Sometimes they'll be trying things out. Maybe they want to put, a champion against some random guy to see how they mix. If like this is your chance to you usually don't get a title change. I think you did once with Bob Backlund losing to Kevin Nash, like our Diesel back in the days for the title. There's like never changes. You're just, the intros aren't really happening. There's no one recording. They like dumb everything down, right? You're just there to watch some good old fashioned wrestling. And it's usually more fun too, because they'll interact with you. Like if you're there, because it's like, everything's kind of cut out. So they'll talk to you and talk mess if you're close enough. But this felt like a legit. Let me just run through who wrestled on this card. Are you ready? We had Tony Storm and Saraya. That sounds fun, right? Against Job City. Okay. Two people I've literally never heard of. I didn't even think the announcers stated the fact that they had never been heard of. I didn't even think the announcers were like, who are these girls? We had Swerve, right? That guy's getting a push, right? Against Brian Pillman Jr., someone I haven't seen on TV in 3 months. I don't remember why are they wrestling? He wants to beat second generational wrestlers, so he picked house show match. They had the trios titles. The trios titles were defended. Okay, that's fun, right? Yeah, against Hardy, Ethan, and that Cassidy guy. 3 guys who knew were going to win. Yeah. No, not Orange Cassidy. Yeah, like 3 random dudes they just put up to are bickering over Ethan Page owning the rights to them. And then we closed that with a banger of a main event with Roosh versus Christopher Daniels. Someone who I didn't even know was still a part of AEW, was main eventing Rampage. This was a house show. And now I'm not saying that once again, but this was kind of the start of the trend of this week in review of AEW. Last week, we ripped AEW. And I felt bad because I know there's AEW hardcores out there and they're like, rah, rah, rah. But this Rampage was I was bored out of my mind. It was literally, and a house show is something that you don't have story. Like there were some stories in between where they did but it was random. They had those 3 dudes, Jeff Jarrett, and then bragging about stealing the Golden Globe, and then Danhausen threatening to win back a Grammy. Was that supposed to be funny because the Grammys were? Everything was atrocious. Nothing in this Rampage episode built the story or continued anything. It was a house show. The end. I'm gonna stick to it. It was a house show. Wait till my report card.
No, I completely agree. I thought it was. We've been singing the praises of Rampage over the last couple of weeks about how good it's been.
I know.
And then they delivered this. And Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of it. I wasn't. It just felt like, yet again with Rampage, it just felt random. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you had this random match that started in a high school gymnasium with the Elite and the Hardys and or Matt Hardy and Ethan Page and Cassidy like whispered something in Kenny Omega's ear, and
Yeah.
that was all weird. And then that set up the trios match. So apparently, all you have to do in AEW is ask for a title match, and you get it, unless you're like Daniel Bryan or Bryan Danielson. You have to go through the 5 pillars or whatever. So,
Right.
But yeah, it just felt random. And then Christopher Daniels randomly being in the main event. You know, I hadn't heard his name since, CM Punk was, calling out stuff, and he was one of the people suspended for the brouhaha in the backstage.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even know he was a backstage producer
Yeah.
for AEW, and apparently he was involved in that fracas with the Elite. But yeah, he hadn't been on TV in a long time. I'm glad to see him, don't get me
Mm-hmm.
wrong,
Yeah.
but yeah, he just hadn't been on TV. And then AEW does this a lot with Rampage. They'll put somebody who hasn't been on TV in a while. They'll put him in these like matches, like with Brian Danielson a few weeks ago, and he took on Brian Cage. To build that matchup, they put Brian Cage on Rampage.
Yeah.
They did the same thing with Roosh. To build that matchup, they put Roosh on Rampage just so you can kind of get familiar with them. And then we probably won't see him on Rampage for the next like 6 months. But it was just it's an hour show. It is an hour show, and it had a hard time keeping my attention. It really did. I was finding myself like, okay, like what's going on here? Saraya and Tony Storm, can we stop with the spray paint? Like it's already like old. You know, it was cool when the NWO did it, but that was 1995 or 98 or whatever year it was.
Yeah, 98, yeah, 99.
You know, that's so 90s, as the kids say these days. And we're spray painting L's on the back of people now. Like, I don't know.
The L, like Dynamite, they brought it all. They're like, yeah, the losers. I'm like, that Michelle McCool got so much crap for doing that gimmick with her girl when they were like kind of like picking on Mickey James and the loser. Mm-hmm. Like, it's just like, who wrote that? I thought AEW was above childish behavior, but we can get into that too. But yeah.
Yeah. The whole episode was just meh to me. Mm-hmm. And it's disappointing to hear that or to even say that, because I feel like Rampage has been at its best over the last couple of weeks.
I agree.
I don't know if this was just an off week or what, but
it wasn't even mid. It was meh.
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad. Yeah. I will say there was one good thing. I think Swerve Strickland can go.
Yeah.
That man, they need to drop this second generation star thing he's going after, and he needs to go after like a mid-card championship or something. That man, he kind of reminds me, or maybe Carmelo Hayes reminds me of Swerve Strickland a little bit, but it's all second nature. It's just they look like naturals out there. Everything they do, you know, they can go. They can really, really go. They seem comfortable on the mic. They seem comfortable in the ring. They can, put on bangers and classic matches. But Swerve is just stuck in this weird mogul affiliates faction, which like we didn't really get much of that in this week. And then he's going after all these second generational stars. So I don't know, but yeah, Swerve Strickland can go, and that was my positive that I'll take from Rampage. Yeah, one good thing.
And I agree, and I think it showed how good he was because of how unsuccessful Hit Row is now, right? Because Hit Row was way better in NXT, and then Swerve leaves, and then they try to make a comeback, and obviously we're probably never going to see them again. So I'm assuming when they come back, they will be broken up if they even are still on the roster in WWE. So it shows how important he is, and I do like him. Like I said, I don't like his Whose House Swerve's House because that's a Rams thing. Whose House Rams House, that's the Rams thing. They did that way before him. Don't be stealing my boy's gimmick or slogan. But I just didn't I just didn't get why he was Brian Pillman Jr. and like, if you're going to do second generationals, I like the whole Gold Dust thing, right? Go after Dustin. That makes sense because at least he's relevant, and Dustin can still, I think he's better now than he was back in the 90s when he was wrestling. Mm-hmm. So, I'm all for that, but they kind of teased it, and then he just went and wrestled Brian Pillman Jr. It was like weird. And he called him out. Did he not call him out? I'm pretty sure he like called out Brian Pillman Jr. Like, did he like hear about him in the back? He was like, oh, wait, Brian Pillman's here? Yeah, I want that dude. Yeah, like, and nothing against, and once again, nothing against Brian Pillman, but this didn't do anything for Swerve. It's not like now people were like, oh, okay, Swerve's legit. Yeah. So let's, like you said, he deserves better. he needs to move on to something else. And at least if you're going to do this second generation, I get that. That's cool. I don't even know how many there are in AEW, but let's start a little bit higher up on the ranks. Or if there isn't enough, don't even do it at all. We don't need another legend killer. Like Randy Orton did it perfectly fine. So
yeah. No, I agree. But other than that, Rampage was was not good. It was not good at all.
Let's do this report card. Let's do it. Report card time.
I am a pretty tough grader, but I got to give this an F. I think this was.
You would straight F.
Yeah, I got to give it an F. It was just random. Everything about it was random. And Toni Storm and Saraya. I don't know if I can take Toni Storm seriously as a heel just yet. I don't know. There's something missing with her heel character. I feel like she's one of those rare people that may be a better babyface in a heel. Because I just can't take her seriously as a heel. And then the swerve stuff with Brian Pillman, that just feels random. And then the trios match that was a banger. That was a good match.
That's what
I think that was one of the good things of the show. But again, it's just defending the championship against a random team and out of a story that started in a gym. So I don't know. And then the main event, Christopher Daniels hasn't been there in a long time, but they got to show off Roosh because Roosh is going to be wrestling Bryan Danielson on Dynamite, so we gotta make Roosh look strong. So let's put him up against Christopher Daniels. I don't know. I'm giving this an F. I didn't think it was a good show at all.
All right. Well, you're doing a little bit harsher than I was going to give it a D, only because there were at least some good matches. Like I said, it was a house show. So if I went and saw this at a house show, I probably would have been like, oh, that's a B, right? I'm at the house show. I mean, you gave me, a trios title and some good matches. Swerve was there. I got to see Toni Storm and Saraya. Like, you know what I mean? So I got to give it a D. But other than that, it was, let's move on from it. Yeah. And I saw next week's Rampage. They were hyping up next. It looks even worse. Did you see them? They were like hyping it on Dynamite. I was like, oh, this trend is continuing.
Yeah.
This is like a continued trend. We're like back to Rampage not meaning shit. Yeah, it was, excuse my language.
Well,
it was.
Also, I mean, in their defense, next week's episode may be a throwaway because it's the NBA All-Star game. And
that's why
they're having like the 3-point shootout on Friday or something like the skills challenge or something.
Is it this weekend? Oh, I love All-Star Weekend.
It's next weekend.
Next week. Okay.
So the weekend of the Elimination Chamber. It's and so I think is it this weekend? Maybe it is. No, it's not this weekend. It's next weekend. So I don't know what this episode's going to look like, but next weekend's Rampage is going to be on at like 6. So it's going to be on like before SmackDown. So but this was one more thing before we move on with Rampage. Can we stop? Like the Elite, they have one of the most popular songs right now, and you don't even play their introduction when you start the show. I feel like that would get fans amped for the show, and that's been happening a lot lately. We've been missing out on Moxley's entrance. They've just been starting with the match
because they're already there.
Yeah.
To save time. Yeah.
Can we at least get the with Moxley's entrance? It makes sense. He takes like 20 minutes to get to the ring, but can we at least play the "Carry On My Wayward Son"? They've got one of the most popular songs, and the way they're doing their entrance is really cool. And I feel like we miss out on it because they go right to the match, right to the action.
We got it on Dynamite, and the crowd loved it. They were like singing along, and they were singing just how they open up at the beginning, and like kind of like Charlie's Angels-y, whatever it is. It's really
so
cool.
Well done, and I feel like we missed out on that on Rampage. And I wish they would do more of that. Show us the entrances and stop just showing us, because it also kind of feels disrespectful to the wrestlers too.
I agree. So. All right, time for Dynamite.
Yes, sir.
Dynamite. All right. And talking about the trending continuing. Whew. I'm assuming there's people out there that like this episode of Dynamite. Possibly. I thought from top to bottom, it was a hot flipping mess. I don't even know where to begin. I mean, I'm trying to think of where I need to start here with everything. But you know what? I'm going to start with my dude. I'm going to start with good old MJF. It started off with MJF. It started off positive. His music hit. The crowd got pumped. He came out and had a pretty good match, actually. People keep saying that he can't go. it started this Dynamite started good. It did. It really did. I said top to bottom. I'm wrong. It did start off good. It had some hope. The match was really good, but then he makes him bleed, does the beat down, runs away when Bryan Danielson comes out, and rinse and repeat. This is like what's happening every single week. Daniel Bryan almost, whatever, saves him or gets beat down later on, which he will. Then MJF just come. It's like the same shit over and over and over again. And they interview MJF in the back, a little bit while later, and he cuts a promo that I am like, you guys know, everyone's ever listened to me, how big of an MJF fan I am, how much I believe in him, how great I think he is. I was lost. I have no idea what anything he was talking about have you ever seen, it's Billy Madison. You ever seen Billy Madison?
Yes.
With Adam Sandler, and he has to go back to school, and then he's finally in high school, and he has to have a competition against the other guy to see who's smarter. So he comes out to give a speech about something, and he talks, and he doesn't talk about anything that's going on. He just does a rambling thing. And then the guy goes to grade him, and he's like, that was the most, we are all stupider for having to listen to that. And he's like, a simple F would have been nice. And he what? That's how I felt after he was done. I was like, did you hook up with Liv Morgan yesterday? So you were like, hey girl, I'm going to make up a story about with your name in it. It was all awful. You didn't have to name drop Liv Morgan. You didn't. And supposedly this has really happened, but I don't care if we were just talking about how Paul Heyman and Cody Rhodes had a moment, and they talked about past and what was true or what was not. There was probably mixtures, but they brought up the past. It felt good. This is the polar opposite of how when you don't have to bring up the past. I have no idea what the hell he was talking about, and what him getting a blowy, and he legit did the blowjob sign, no, no, it was straight tongue in his cheek, and it was really random, all of it. And the girl there holding the mic was probably what the hell is happening? It was I had no idea. And then he goes on commentary, and it's meh. And then guess what? Bryan Danielson has a match, and maybe we can talk about that later. But it was not MJF's night. This was a really off night, and we're getting a lot of off MJF nights. And I hear people, chipper chappering about how MJF's not that dude. This is not about MJF once again. If you guys think that MJF is just free ranging what he's doing in life right now, you're wrong. Tony Khan has say. This is what Tony Khan is wanting MJF to do, and MJF is taking what he's being given. But this is another champion in AEW who is being wasted. I have no idea why Tony Khan does not know how to book. He doesn't know how to book story. This is the same story MJF's done 50 times. It's not good. The only good AEW champion we've ever had, and I will die on my grave right now saying this if I died tomorrow, was Kenny Omega. Every other champion has felt pointless. All of them. They have not had good pushes, nothing. I have no idea. And we'll get into this later too. It was when Tony Khan has money in a bottle and he just wants to waste it. I have no idea what they're doing with MJF. I'm just, it's even hard for me to get out words. I wrote all these notes, and even in my notes, I'm just I don't know what the hell is going on and what they're doing with him and how anybody thinks this is what working. And another thing too is that when he became champ, I really, really said that he needs to have a Roman Reigns type feel. He needs to be a champion. He's not like Moxley where he's wrestling every week and coming out all that. You need to make your champion feel special. I'm sorry to break it to you. Having him wrestle no Joe, blow guy, whatever, is not him wrestling a nobody is not getting him to feel important.
No.
Nobody after that was like, that's my champion. So next time he comes out, it's going to feel important. You don't see Roman Reigns wrestling Dolph Ziggler. It's not going to happen. It just, all of this felt I'm lost, Shooting Star. I'm just lost. The end. I'll let you go. I'm lost.
No, I'm right there with you, man. I hated this. I hated all of it. And I don't use that word lightly. I don't use it often, but this was bad. And one thing that really stood out to me is that I'm just perplexed that they even allowed this promo to air on TV in the first place. And this is another prime example of maybe you should not let your wrestlers have so much creative freedom, because 2 weeks ago, you just had a tribute match for Jay Briscoe, who died in a car accident. And 2 weeks later, your champion, the face of your brand, is talking about how he switched places with the lifeless woman that was giving him a blowy in a car. And, he switched places and moved her lifeless body to the driver's seat so he didn't take like, I don't know. It just was cringy. It just felt, it put a bad taste in my mouth. You just had Jay Briscoe, like one of the greatest tag team wrestlers of all time, pass away tragically in a car accident. And 2 weeks, not even a month later, literally 2 weeks goes by, and it just kind of felt, I don't know, Tony
in bad taste. Yeah,
it was poor taste. And Tony, maybe that goes back to what we've been saying about, not letting your wrestlers have so much creative freedom when it comes to their promos. Like Tony Khan maybe should have looked at that. Maybe he did. Maybe he.
I think he did. I think he has all say. I think he did.
Yeah, I don't know, but that was not good. And then
all of it was bad because, like you said, the car accident, getting a blowy from a girl, and then how does heel work? Like, being a good heel means you're swapping spots with a person and blaming, like, and what what did that have to do with Bryan Danielson? I don't get it.
Nothing.
Yeah. I don't get it.
And did you like, you admit to committing a felony on TV? Yeah. Like, I mean, I'm sure that part was made up, but still, it's just, I don't know. I hated it. I hated all of it. And then, the sad part is the match he had was actually really good. It was a really good match. And for those people who, like you said, the people that say he can't go in the ring, I think he maybe is starting to prove them wrong a little bit, because he looked really good in that match. And I think he's going to be able to have a solid 60-minute Iron Man match at Revolution. Yep. And I can't wait for it. I really can't, because I think he's going to prove the doubters wrong that he can't go in the ring. But this was not a good night for him. This was a bad night. Not in the ring, but this was a bad night for his strength, which is his promo ability and his talking ability. And I just did not care for it at all.
No. And everything after that, the commentary wasn't that good. It was just all rinse and repeat. So yeah.
Yes. And then this kind of feeds into my talking point, which is the Danielson match. And we talked about Roosh, and Roosh can go. I'll give Roosh credit, but this goes back to the MJF locking him in the locker room before the match, and or Roosh's guys locking him in the locker room before the match, and MJF is scolding Aubrey Edwards to make the count because he's not here. He's not going to be able to show up, and she's actually doing it. And I don't know. It just, I don't.
Yeah, she did do it too.
She was just like, ring the bell, and then 1, she was counting, just 2, and he was like yelling at her to count faster, and she was just looking at him like, I don't know. It just, all of it was bad. All of it was very, very bad. And then Bryan Danielson, like, they like go to commercial or something, then he comes back, and all of a sudden, I don't know how many times he tried, but it looked like the first time he like charged the door, did one of those leaping jump moves, and the door opens magically, and Roosh's guys are no longer there. It's outside of the door.
No, they were like, weren't they like spread apart? I think he like busted through them. I think they were like laying in the hallway.
Yeah, it was just, it was weird. It was so, and then he runs to the ring and gets there magically right before the count of 10, so that he could get into the ring with Roosh and have a decent match. But yeah, the pomp and circumstance before, the stuff afterwards, it was just, I don't know.
It was all. And I was going to talk about that with the bad MJF, but I thought we could talk about that match separately. But so I'm glad you brought it up. But yeah, I actually want to talk about that match too. But once again, Tony Khan, like, you thought that was like good. Like, how could we find a way for MJF to have Daniel Bryanson lose, right? He's paying a guy to kick his butt. That's obviously not good enough because he doesn't trust the guy will. So let's lock him out of his room. Out of his room. And it was so, and the count. So, Audrey, she's like counting, right? But she's trying to still stay badass. She's like looking at him while doing it. Like, I'm only doing this because I have to. Well, no, you didn't, because he didn't have any music they could have at least turned his music on and said, okay, there's his intro. Yeah. He didn't come out. Now it was awful. And he got in the ring on like the count of 5.
Yeah.
Why didn't you 9? Like, come on.
And and then awful. He comes running out. Yeah.
Yes. It was so awful. Gosh. It was so bad. And then I do want to talk about this match, because I read online afterwards that people were like loving this. This was Roosh's best match and this and that. Okay. I haven't seen a lot of Roosh. I've seen him on AEW, this and that. I don't like it. I didn't like it at all. Here's things that people might not have noticed about Roosh. He no-sold almost every freaking thing that happened to him. Go back and watch it. Every single time Brian kicked him, every single time he chopped him, they did like a chop war because that's like the new AEW. They want to bleed and they want to do chop wars. That's all they do nowadays. And they're chopping each other. Every time Bryan Danielson takes a chop, he like feels it, or every time he would hit Roosh didn't even move. Watch it. It was atrocious. He was acting like nothing. And then all of a sudden he just got pinned and he lost. And it was like, oh, okay. He did not sell one move, no offense. And it looked like he was super stiff as well. I didn't like any of it. I felt like after that match, Bryan Danielson should have went back there and been like, yo, bro, like tune it down a little bit. Like I get you want to be stiff and that's like your gimmick because whatever wrestling you used to do, like when you come like Gunther, like he's allowed to hit people harder because that's how he was trained. Now this is American wrestling. This is scripted. We're not here to like literally try to hurt each other.
Yeah, we're not.
That's not the point. Yeah. So you can do that in your other wrestling. When you come to WWE, AEW, like it's theatrical, right? But I thought he was awful. I thought the match was awful. I am so sick of AEW match. Okay, how many people bled on Dynamite?
Yeah. Takeshita bled, Danielson bled.
Like, what is happening? Why does everybody bleed? Why? Is this a Tony Khan thing? Are they all blading each other? Like, is Tony Khan, is he like handing out like razor blades on the way to like here you go, bleed if you want. Here you go, trick or treat, bleed if you want. Like, oh, that was bad. I shouldn't have said trick or treat with razor blades. But like, you're handing out like razor. No, actually, young kids don't get that. Back in my days, they used to say there was razor blades and candy, and I used to not be able to eat it at Halloween. I had to dump it and then buy my own candy. It was awful. Yeah, but anyway. Yeah, but you had to go to like the sheriff's station and like run it through like a machine. Do you remember that? And I had to do that. Yeah, I remember at the sheriff's station running it through X-ray machines to make sure my candy was good. But I'm sure that saw the poison that was in there. But like, yeah, it was just, I don't understand why everybody bleeds. Like, there used to be a thing in WWE where like bleeding, like they had a first blood match. Like it was like a thing to like when you blood, like Stone Cold gets put into the sharpshooter from Bret Hart. He's bleeding down his face. He's not giving up. That made him, because the blood felt important. Bryan Danielson was bleeding, and I was like, oh, okay. Why? Stop bleeding. What are you guys bleeding? Just have a match. You don't have to like have a match where you literally every match are just beating the shit out of each other and cutting each other. Everyone in AEW is talented. Show your talent. I am like so sick of it. And this match was like a perfect example of it. Like Bryan Danielson goes back all welted up. And to me, that's not, I wasn't like afterwards, like, good job, you guys, way to hurt each other. Yeah. Like, no, I want a good story. And there was no story in that match. There was literally just them slapping each other and Roosh not selling and Daniel Bryan bleeding. That's what I saw. So
that's the theme of the week with AEW. It seems is, bleed, bleed, bleed. But I don't get it, because and the thing is, okay, you want to make blood feel important. So MJF punched Takeshita after the match with the Dynamite Diamond Ring. And that's when Takeshita bled.
But he bled late too.
Yeah, but after the match, after the Danielson match, MJF hits him with the Dynamite Diamond Ring and nothing. So it's like, okay, if there's a time to bleed, we just made Takeshita bleed from it, and you want to show off the importance of what MJF can do and the strength of Maxwell Jacob Friedman and kind of things that he can expect in the 60-minute Iron Man match. Let's have Bryan Danielson bleed when MJF hits him with the Dynamite Diamond Ring.
Yeah,
perfect. But no, it's like it makes no sense. Yeah, he was bleeding before the match even started.
He was just already like, he was like, Blade. I swear he bled. He cut himself on the way down to the ring. He was like, let's do this, right, Knox?
And it looked like Takeshita. It looked like you could kind of, the cameraman, like we talked about this last week when the cameraman caught Moxley blading. It looked like there was a scene where Takeshita was handed a blade by the ref, and you could see him like doing this a little bit. But then they quickly cut away. But you could I was like, oh, he's blading. And even wrestling guy hit me up. He was like, I think he's blading. I was like, yeah, I think he is too.
Oh, 100%. And AEW has been doing all sorts of awful stuff like that. They caught, there was a part 2 where MJF was on the corner and Takeshita was trying to roll him out. And when he grabbed him, MJF like audibly like tells him what to do next. He like literally looks up. is talking, like yelling at him, and then looks back down and pretends like, but the camera was on him though. Like, know where your camera angles are. Like, you don't, like, that's like number one. The camera's next to you. You don't whisper in their ear at that moment, right? You got to like know your time. It's been a shit show in their production. It looks better, but they need to figure out these cameramen.
I'm telling you, Malibu Stacy. You know, it's she's got a new hat, so everybody wants to see it.
Yeah.
It's still the same old doll that it was before.
That's hilarious. I do want to talk about my last thing before you get into your last thing.
Sure.
I do have one trios match. I have to say, when they invented these trios titles, I talked about how stupid it was. I was like, oh my gosh, this is so dumb. Why we don't need more titles, 3 people being champions, blah, 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 blah. But I'm starting to come around. I'm starting to feel these 3-on-3 matches and the championship matches. The Rampage one was a good match, even though they wrestled pointless people. But this match, you know what I mean? This trios match that they had, it was good, man. It was a good showing. It was fun. I mean, obviously all 6 competitors, but those guys deserved to wrestle. There was at least a story on why they were wrestling. You know, it wasn't just they met them in a high school gym. They actually beat them in a tag team match before, and they earned a right before too when they were a trio, like Top Flight and whoever and AR Fox. It was a good. I thought it was a good match. I thought it was my favorite match of the night, to be honest, even more so than the MGF match, and I thought it was really good. But I'm really coming around to these trios, and I know it's just all about pushing the elite and yada yada. But you know what? With their entrance music and how important they are and how good they go, I'm all for it. You can just have them be trios champion forever. I'm good with it. They can just wrestle whoever they want. I mean, we still need story, and that's a whole other thing we'll get into, but it's something AEW doesn't do. But the matches itself are entertaining and fun, and I like it. So I'm starting to come around with the trios.
Yeah, no, I agree. I thought this was the match of the night, and the one thing we talked about before, they're actually defending the championships, which I didn't think they would ever defend those championships. And you know, they're defending the trios championships, just like, you know, we've seen the All Atlantic Championship defended quite a bit. We saw the TNT Championship defended quite a bit. Yeah, so now the trios championships are being defended quite a bit. You know, two nights on one night on Rampage, and then this Wednesday on Dynamite.
Yep.
So I'm here for it, and they're good matches too. They're not you know, these hokey matches that we maybe saw a little bit of in that Best of 7 series. They're actually better than some of those matches in that Best of 7 series, and you know, I'm actually excited to see them. And yeah, I thought they were really, really good, solid matches. And again, you know, Top Flight has been built strongly over the last couple of months. They've had bangers with the Blackpool Combat Club. They've had great matches with Bryan Danielson and Claudio, and Jon Moxley and Danielson, and several members of the BCC. So yeah, I think, and they won that Christmas $1 million thing, battle royal, whatever it was, the $300,000 battle royal. They won that, and you know, they have been built strongly and so I think, and then they beat the Young Bucks just a few weeks ago on Dynamite too. So you know, they're building them up strongly. They're building them up to be solid contenders, even in the trios division or in the tag division too. So I'm excited about what they're doing with Top Flight for sure.
I agree. It's been good stuff, really good stuff. But AEW always is up, right? They're gonna. When was the last time Orange Cassidy defended his title? He does it like six times in a row, and then they get rid of him. Now it's the trios. That's what they.
And now he's in a trio himself. So
that's right.
With the best friends. So yeah. So let's talk. Let me see. What else happened on Dynamite? Let's talk about this Garcia Guevara gauntlet.
Thank you.
Sammy Guevara gauntlet.
Why was it both their names if only one of them wrestled in it? I'm so confused.
Why are we doing this? Like, this is okay. First of all,
yes,
Ricky Starks has already beaten Chris Jericho. We talked about this before the show.
Yeah,
Ricky Starks has already beaten Chris Jericho. So, A, why is he wanting to wrestle him again? He's already beaten him. B, why does he have to earn a rematch against Chris Jericho when he's already beaten him? And C, why isn't it that Chris Jericho, who has lost to Ricky Starks, why doesn't he have to go through any of this gauntlet stuff to face Ricky Starks again? Because, you know, Action Andretti beat Chris Jericho, and there's been no rematch for that. And Ricky Starks beat Chris Jericho. So, if anything, Chris Jericho should be trying to earn his stripes and trying to earn his rematch against Ricky Starks. not the other way around. It just doesn't make any sense to have him go through a gauntlet, especially because there's already another guy who has to go through the gauntlet to face the world champion,
Yeah.
Bryan Danielson. And you're doing these both on the same night. Like it makes no sense. It makes no sense whatsoever. And Ricky Starks we all know the outcome of it. We know that, we knew, I knew there was going to be some Jericho shenanigans in this match.
Yeah.
And, but we all know Ricky Starks is going to get his match against Chris Jericho at Revolution. So what's the point of this? There's got to be a different way to get it. And like I said, Ricky Starks has already beaten him. So it should be Chris Jericho trying to earn his stripes and trying to earn the rematch, not the other way around. It just makes zero sense whatsoever.
I agree. This whole thing was a hot mess. And the worst part about it, well, for one, he had trouble with Homeboy that I always forget his name. And then he was about to wrestle Magic
Angelo
Mike.
Parker.
Yeah, Angelo. Yeah. And then he's about to wrestle Magic Mike or whatever that guy's name is. And he comes out. Yeah, it just gets like rolled up. I'm like, okay, so in like 5 minutes, you've beaten two guys. And then Garcia and Guevara come out and they tease. And the announcer says he has two more guys to beat. But he didn't. He only had one more guy to beat. They were even confused on what the heck this match was about.
Yeah.
And then we get random fan guy who does Chris Jericho's move that everybody saw, but it's still random fan guy. And the announcers give no rats. You're like basically saying, hey fans, if you want to like take a shot, go ahead. No security goes after him. Like, no, like did he talk to security beforehand? Did he say like, hey, just so you know, it's me, Chris Jericho. Yeah. I'm gonna hit the guy as soon as he gets here because I know for a fact that at some point this guy's gonna come over here and I'm gonna do my move on him. It was there's nothing worse than when wrestling is fake. You get what I'm saying? Like it's it's just out of. How'd you know he was gonna go there? How did you like? No. And when WWE has people do it, they've been doing it recently with Dexter and with Sammy, whoever it is, like the security is like involved. They're like, wait. Like they try to, until it gets announced that it was going to happen. He like straight did a move and then just hung out in his seat.
Yeah. And
what are you doing? Like
he walked. He didn't run to the ring.
No care in the world. I just hit who I want.
Yeah, singing his song,
He's like Judas in my mind. Yeah.
Walking, whistling it as he's going to the ring.
Yeah. And then Garcia makes out with the mask afterwards. Like he was so happy he got a win over Ricky Starks. He was like, yes, I did it. This is for you, Adrian. Like it was a mattered win. I don't know. It was bad. I'm glad you brought it up. It was stupid. And I guarantee you this is a Chris Jericho idea. I know I said TK books everything, but I guarantee you because Chris Jericho with all his greatness, and there is a shitload of greatness, he also has a lot of stupid ideas, and I guarantee he thinks this is like a good idea. Like, all right, man, like I'm so great that I can lose to a guy and he'll still want to go through hell just to reface me. So I think this is like a him idea. I'm over it. Let's I know there's stuff missing on this episode, but we're gonna get into that next. The people are probably like, you're forgetting some stuff, but we can move into this grade if you want, unless you have one last thing. I was
just gonna say about Jericho. He apparently was talking about this. I don't know if it was on his podcast or in an interview, but he was talking about his little run-in, and apparently he was in the crowd the entire time, the entire show leading up to this Guevara Garcia gauntlet match.
He was sitting there in a mask the entire time.
It's
MJF, everything.
Says he didn't move. He says he didn't cheer. He just had the mask on. And then, so he said that when the fans were beside him, and he did that move, everyone was really shocked. And then they were. But I don't know if I believe that. I don't know. I don't know if that's true. I mean, because you know how Jericho, he likes to embellish things sometimes. But he could just be telling a story, just like MJF told that story on Dynamite. But yeah, that's what he came out and said, that he was in the crowd the entire night. He didn't go just sit there 5 minutes before the match. So he was out there the entire time, and nobody picked up that it was him. But
I mean, right when he stood up, he has mannerisms. You can tell it was Chris Jericho.
Tell. Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Like, no doubt in my mind. But yeah.
But let's go ahead and give this show a grade.
All right. You first as always.
All right. I graded Rampage in F. But I'm going to give this one a D. It was okay. We had some good matches. We had MJF again, like we said, he can go in the ring. think he's proven the doubters wrong in that regard, but I feel like he's regressing a little bit in his promos and he needs to get back to what made him great in the first place. But he had a great match with Takeshita. The trios match was really good. So yeah, I got to give it a low D.
Yeah, I might do a D plus just to be nice. Because we didn't even get into the main event, and honestly, that main event I should give it an F. But I'm gonna do a D plus just because, and that Jericho thing was atrocious, and MJ, everything. But me doing a D plus because I don't want to do an F just because I still like these people. They still at least gave it a full effort.
We do like AEW.
Yeah. I do like it, and that's why I'm so hard on it these last 2 weeks because I want good stuff and it's not happening. So, all right. I'm gonna do a D plus, sir. D plus.
All right, yeah, that's a fair grade.
Yep, and that was our weekend review. Back-to-back weeks of just crapping on AEW. So I apologize. And this is usually our most viewed episode. So I don't know if it's just because everybody who's watching hates AEW or everyone who watches does, and they're hoping we turn it around. But I'm hoping next week we have a much more positive outlook on AEW because I really want one. But after seeing who's wrestling on Rampage, doesn't look like it. But they do have Mark Briscoe talking on next week's Dynamite. So his first ever thing. So that might be good. And that's going to be a positive. So it'll be nice to have that happen. So
to have something. So
yeah.
We haven't got any comments on the episode today. So
we have people watching. I checked for that. I checked on my phone to see it. We're so good right now. People are just enjoying our voices.
They agree. They must agree.
They are. They're like, that was an atrocious episode. All right. It is segment time, ladies and gentlemen. It is time for our segment on Friday, AEW Friday. And it is a new segment that we are going to be calling
Dude.
And why are we calling this episode Dude? Because what this segment is all about is why would you book this? So instead of just yelling at somebody, since we are dudes, just like in basketball, like you just heard, we talk in the sense that we say, dude. Tony Khan, dude. Tony Khan, dude. Triple H, dude. So when you get mad at each other, that's how you do it.
That's how we say it. We say, dude.
Dude.
And
dude,
dude,
you know it. If you're a guy, you get it, dude.
It's all in how you say it too. If it's something, if it's good, you're like, dude. If it's bad, it's like, dude, what? Really?
Dude.
Come on,
dude.
But if it's great, it's dude.
And this is not that. This is dude.
Yeah, come on.
Dude, really, dude? All right, so let's start off with Mr. Shooting Star Press. What is your dude moment of the week? It looks like we only have time for one each, so make it count.
All right, so I'm going to cheat a little bit because this is more not why would you book it, but more of a what are you doing?
Same thing, dude.
Okay. All right, so you were at Dynamite a few weeks ago, and there was a big return of Mr. Adam Cole, baby. Great pop. He, great theme song. He's wonderful, wonderful person. And I'm glad that he's back. But is he back? Where in the hell is he? Because we haven't seen him in the ring. He's done these backstage things like he's Cody Rhodes or something. He's been doing all these vignettes. But,
he's Cody Rhodes.
But we haven't seen him in the ring at all since that big return in Los Angeles. And then not only that, last week, you had a controversial title change with Wardlow or Darby Allin dropping the title to Samoa Joe. And you had a return of a new look Wardlow with a new haircut. Where was he this week? What are you doing? You like dude. What are you doing, Tony? Like you bring these guys back and then you don't do anything with them. You don't put them. You take they're off TV for multiple weeks. We don't see them for a while. Brian Cage, he had a match against Bryan Danielson a few weeks ago. Haven't seen him since. You're doing all this stuff, and I get you have a loaded roster. I get you have a lot of people you're trying to get on TV, but where is Adam Cole?
Yeah,
where is Adam Cole? Where was Wardlow this week? I don't understand it. You got to capitalize on this stuff. You got to capitalize on it because then you're going to get to a point where people don't care anymore that, oh yeah, Adam Cole's back. Cool. Yippee. You know, who's the next guy that AEW is going to get? Instead, you got to capitalize on it. You got to take advantage of it, and you got to get Adam Cole in the ring, because I personally think he should be in the title hunt of some sort, either competing for the world championship or, at least in like eliminator tournaments or something. But you can't do anything if you don't even put him on TV. So I don't understand it. And same thing with Wardlow. Capitalize on it. He came back last week after a multiple week absence, and you don't have him on TV the following week to go after Samoa Joe or even Darby Allin. Let him go after Darby Allin or something. I don't know. Or let him just beat up the roster like he did when he was trying to go after MJF. I don't know. Just what are you doing? So that is my dude.
I fully agree with you. I need to comment on this. It was, I don't, and when I was there, I mean, it was like headache. It was so loud. Like it was vibrating my brain. Like that's how over Adam Cole was. And I think what's going to happen with like Adam Cole is that it was like with what happened to Edge. Edge like kept like coming back, disappearing, coming back 2 weeks later, disappearing, coming back 4 weeks later. His cheers aren't as loud as they used to be. Like when he came out this week with Judgment Day, he's not getting Edge type reactions anymore because he's gone all the time. You can't keep returning. Eventually you have to just be here, right? You're the hero, you're not. Or you got to be like The Rock where you're gone for a while, then you come back. But you can't just come back every other month. That's not how it works. And what are you going to do with Adam Cole? Bring him back again? Or are you just going to bring him right back into a match? Then it doesn't feel as important either. So he has to return again. He has to, before he wrestles or gets into anything. Exactly. So what the heck is, but why bring him in Hollywood? Just to make it, just because they had nothing else to do and they needed something?
Because they didn't get Mercedes.
Yeah. And that might be why. Exactly. Yeah. That might be why. So did they bring him prematurely? So once again, bad move. And I agree with Wardlow. Hangman Page, he was super hot. Yeah. Where the hell did he go? Oh, and don't worry, Mox has been on every week. And now, don't worry, he'll be on Rampage next week, teaming up with the BCC that I didn't even know existed anymore. So they're in a match this week on Rampage against who knows.
It's just all over.
It's just, they just, and if you don't have enough time for your roster because your roster's too big, then learn how to use it. You know what I mean? WWE did it. That's why they split their brands. Figure out how to use it or get rid of people or give them the Miro treatment where you just don't even have them on TV. But you can't just take people on and take people off and get people on or just leave some of them on dark and let them wrestle on dark and don't bring them up until you're ready to use them consistently. So it's just another dude moment from TK, and I fully agree with you. With that said, my dude moment is probably something everybody knows is what I'm going to say. My dude moment is TK.
Yeah.
Dude. You had your hottest act in wrestling. They might be the hot. I mean, I think it's Sami Zayn, Cody Rhodes, the Acclaimed. I think they're all on any given day are getting different type of pops and different kind of, you know what I mean? I think they're all pretty much up there as the biggest people right now getting the loudest pops. Yes. And you had the Acclaimed drop their titles on an episode of Dynamite, not even a pay-per-view, on an episode of Dynamite to a mid-card tag team. Now, if you don't believe me, go back and watch when the Guns won. It was silent. Silence is not good in wrestling. Ask anybody who's ever watched or anyone who's ever performed. You do not want. It was silent. Silent. And then when the Acclaim, they like came back in and did their little thing or whatever, they started chanting, "This is bullshit." Excuse my language. I could not be TK in the back being like, "This is what I wanted. This is awesome. People hate me now." And we just get, what the heck? What was the point of this? You didn't have Billy Gunn turn, which I predicted I thought was going to happen. You didn't have him turn. You just got hit in the head with I am just so confused on, did you book this for the moment? This is not like Brock Lesnar and The Undertaker. This is not even on that level. And people were upset about, at least Brock Lesnar was a freaking star. Like I get if FTR made a return this week and just took the belts from them and you just wanted to lose your hottest act for shock that way. The Guns, and nothing against the Guns. I think they have a bright future. This would be like, honestly, I'm trying to think of right now. This would be like, not Sami Zayn, not Cody. Roman Reigns goes on Raw next week and drops the belt to Elias. It's literally about that. Yeah, literally, Roman Reigns gets beat by Elias, and now Elias is the champion because everyone in the crowd is going to be shocked. Yay! Yeah. Like, what type of old school Eric Bischoff bad WCW booking was this? It was. Once again, I'm speechless. I'm never speechless. I was like in shock watching this.
Yeah, it was bad. It was very, very bad, and I'm speechless now. Like, I can't even put into words what I want to say about it because I thought the match was good and then up until the end. And the one thing they got right was that they didn't have Billy Gunn turn. And I'm glad that they didn't have Billy Gunn turn because that would have been A, too predictable, and B, you lose some marketing that way because you got to get rid of all your Scissor Me Daddy Ass shirts. But still, the way it was done was atrocious. The crowd was pissed. They were chanting, "This is bullshit" for a reason, because it was. Even the Acclaimed, I don't know if they were acting afterwards or if they're really good actors, but they looked legitimately pissed off that this is how it ended. And I don't. Why? Is this to get nuclear heat on the Guns? Because there's other ways to do that than to have them win the tag titles in this way. But this was it was a bad decision. The Acclaimed is one of the most over acts. We know they're going to get a rematch at Revolution, but it's not going to be the same. It's not going to be the same if they recapture the tag team championships against the Guns. But Tony Khan, he's got to rectify this. He's got to do something to fix this in the next couple of weeks, because I don't think the reaction he got was the reaction he was expecting. And you're going to have some unhappy fans, and you're going to have, like, this is the first time I've seen like AEW fans who are normally, all gung ho about AEW. AEW can do no wrong. These are the they were chanting, "This is bullshit," and it's not because MJF cut some scathing promo on them, or it's not because of something going on in the story. It's because they were legitimately pissed off about the outcome of a match, and that's not what they wanted. And
nobody wanted it.
No, nobody wanted it. Nobody wanted it, and I feel bad for the Guns because they're not bad. They're not a bad team.
They're just not there.
They're just not there yet. They're not ready, and they're just. I don't know. Tony Khan has got to fix this. I don't know how you fix it, though. I don't know what you do at this point, because now it's just going to feel like, okay, like, yeah, I admit I made a mistake. Let's put the titles back on the Acclaim, but it's just not going to be the same. It's not going to be the same. He really messed this up.
And that's what happens when you don't know wrestling and you're just a fan and you don't know how to book. Because I think in his mind, he's thinking, all right, I'm going to do it at Dynamite. It's going to give a shock value. Everyone's going to be talking about it. And then at the next pay-per-view, we'll have them win the belts back and everyone will forgive me. But no, man, you take steam away. I don't think he understands, like, this can hurt the Acclaim for them moving forward. Now when they come back, or they win the title, maybe they won't be as over. Winning the belts back from the Guns, you think that's going to, like, everyone's going to be like, yeah. No, it's not going to, like, get them any more over than they were so over. So over. I do not understand and without doing it with the turn didn't make sense either, because that, like I said, I'm glad he didn't turn either, but that was like the only way.
Yeah, I feel like that you may as well have had him turn if you were going to have him drop the belt. It would have made sense. I wouldn't have liked it, but it would have made sense. But no, it was just, all of it was bad. The outcome was awful. Yeah, and it's not going to be the same. They're not going to be the over anymore. And, like, what are they going to rap about? Like, he can't come out and he can't. And this is one thing that Vince McMahon used to do in the WWE. He had Kofi Kingston drop the title to Brock Lesnar on Friday Night SmackDown, the debut episode on Fox, in like 19 seconds. And the next week, he's out there happy as a clam doing New Day Rocks and, like, shaking his booty and talking about bootios. I didn't like it. I don't like it when they do that. They need to be pissed off that they lost these tag team championships. So next week when they come out, if they come out at all, probably won't even be on TV, because after everything we just talked about with Adam Cole, they may not be on TV for a while. But but they need to come out. They can't do their little rap gimmick. They need to come out pissed off. They need to be going out there, taking the show hostage and saying, we're not doing it. We're not going anywhere until I get these belts back. We're going to do everything we can to right this wrong, something. Mm-hmm. But you can't just have them come out doing their same old Acclaim stuff, because it's just like, it's not going to bode well. It's not going to do you any favors.
I agree. No, it was just, and I just don't see, I can't picture in my head any good reason to have done this. So I'm lost. No. And I can even see the Billy Gunn turn happening at the pay-per-view, and Acclaim still losing the belts.
Yeah.
And them trying to just run with the guns and moving the Acclaim. Maybe he thinks that the Acclaimed are so over they don't need the belts. I don't know. But
this hurts.
It does. And it hurts AEW. It's so stupid. You have like these.
You had a cash cow and
with belts, and they're literally getting things over talking about scissoring. They're the biggest merch sellers that I don't get it. I don't get it. So
it made no sense. And
TK
squandering opportunities, man. You did it with Wardlow. You had Wardlow, one of the most over guys on the roster. You squandered it, and now you're doing the same thing with the Acclaimed, and it's sad. It's really sad to see, because we want them to build new stars, and they had 3 new stars.
Yep.
The Acclaimed with Bowens and Caster and Wardlow, and all those opportunities are squandered. So it just makes no sense whatsoever.
Dude. TK. Dude. All right. And that's the end of our AEW Friday episode.
I promise we love AEW. We do. We like AEW. We want it to do better.
Yeah, So thank you again to the Two Dudes Wolfpack for tuning in. No one talked today, but hey, y'all enjoyed it, hopefully. Thank you for tuning in, checking us out. As always, you can find us on TikTok, and Shooting Star Press will do all that. But Two Dudes with Attitudes, I appreciate you as always. I'm the dude of Wrestle Talk, Mr. MWO.
And I'm the honorary dude, Mr. Shooting Star Press. Go find us on TikTok. Go hit us up on Twitch and YouTube. Follow us, subscribe to us there. We're at 39 subscribers on YouTube, so we're almost at 50. Almost at 40, I guess, but we're close to 50, almost to 40, and we're at 22 subscribers on Twitch. So go follow us there as well. And then go rate us and review us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts as well, because the more reviews we get, the more attention we get, the more the more visible we are to everybody. So we appreciate all the love and support we've gotten so far. So just keep it coming.
It's an easy way to promote us.
Yeah. And we do this for y'all. We really do.
Yes, sir.
And we enjoy it.
Yes, we do. All right. So thank you so much. We'll see you all Wednesday for WWE Wednesday, man.
Should be a good one.
Yes, sir. Two Dudes Attitudes out. Thank you.
All right.